Spring is in the air, and there is nothing more exciting than melting snow, Easter candy, and, of course, March Madness. Men, women, children, and even the president fill out their NCAA basketball brackets, starting with 68 teams and hoping to pick the national championship team. The Sweet 16 is this week, and there's nobody better in the whole world to discuss the frenzy than my dear friend from college, Memphis head coach Josh Pastner. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Thank you for having me. You look as beautiful as ever, and it's always an honor to be on.
You look as young as ever. 20 years ago. It was.
Listen, internally, I'm not as young as ever. Internally, it's not as young as ever. After going through this coaching deal, it's been there's been some stresses involved, but I've loved every second of it.
Well, you are an amazing coach, and I know that people across the country really love you and how far you've come. So I want to know, though, let's just talk about March Madness. What schools are you surprised to still see in the race leading up to the Sweet 16?
Well, you know, the NCAA tournament is such a crapshoot. I mean, it's something where, you know, there's so much emphasis put on it that in a one-game scenario, anything can happen. I mean, anything can happen. It's not always the best team wins. I mean, look, when I was at Arizona, we won the national championship in 1997. We were not the best team at all. We just happened to get hot at the right time. You get your couple breaks, some calls go your way. That's all part of it. And once really you get to the second...
But are there any teams really that you see that, depending on whether or not they're the best or the worst team, or they've had the good shots go their way, that you're really surprised are in or out of it?
Well, no, I mean, I don't. I mean, I think what you see right now is the seeds are who they are. And now I do think probably surprising for everybody is you have a UCLA where a lot of people were not high on them even being in the tournament. But, you know, they beat a very, very good SMU team, and then they beat UAB to get to the Sweet 16. You know, Xavier's in the Sweet 16. Of all the Big East teams remaining, Xavier's a team still remaining. So I would say those two teams just off the top of my head. I mean, look, Michigan State, who's a 7th seed, has beat Virginia. They're in the Sweet 16, and now you look at them, they're maybe the favorite to come out of that region with Villanova and Virginia out. So I think once you get to this point, everyone's good. It doesn't really matter about the seeding as much because, like I was saying, that second round or the third round, however you look at it, in that round of 32, seeding doesn't matter. It's all about, you know, teams are so equally good that you get a shot here, you make one there, you get a call there, you get a break your way, things go in your direction.
Well, you brought up Villanova, and a lot of insiders placed their bets on Villanova. Of course, there was even a girl who was seen crying on TV, a band member, bless her heart. So I was just wondering, do you think that there's another number one seed team to go? Obviously, they're not both teams going to make it, two number ones, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Kentucky's got an opportunity to get to the Final Four. I think the West region with Wisconsin and Arizona, the 1 and 2 seeds respectively, I mean, that's a toss-up. I do think Michigan State would be right now the leader in the East region. I think them and you know, believe it or not, NC State. I think those two teams right there, and then you're looking in you know, the South region with Duke. So you could easily see only 2 of the remaining 3 number 1 seeds make it to Indianapolis in for that Final Four weekend. But I do think the strong possibility of Kentucky being there, at least one of the number 1 seeds, I think that's a very strong possibility.
Well, I want to talk about the other Wildcats, our alma mater. So of course, they won in '97. We're still waiting again. Freshman Stanley Johnson, he made 8 of 11 shots, including 4 of 5 three-point attempts, and scored 22 points in the last game. And he's a freshman. Most coaches worry about their freshmen and how they're going to respond. What do you have to say about this? Is that he doesn't have fear because he's so young, or that he's just really such a great talent? You're a head coach. How do you respond to this?
Well, first of all, I think Sean Miller and his staff have done an amazing job there in Tucson. I mean, it's only a matter of time when they're going to, you know, bring another championship to the University of Arizona there in Tucson. I mean, Sean's one of the best coaches in the game. The second thing is I think Stanley Johnson is terrific. I saw him a bunch in high school and or the AAU scene. He was, won a lot then, very, very good, very talented. But their team was really good, and I think their main guy is T.J. McConnell. I think T.J. McConnell's the head of the snake. He's a winner, comes up with 50-50 balls, hard-nosed plays, just a big-time guy. And, obviously they've got to beat Xavier first, but and Wisconsin has to beat North Carolina, but I think that's going to be an epic battle in that Elite Eight game if both Wisconsin and Arizona respectively advance.
And not to focus on Stanley Johnson, but how do you as a coach keep a kid like that who's so talented and brings so much to a college program, how do you keep him from not going into the NBA, because we see so much of that?
Well, I don't think you'd want to keep him from going to the NBA. If he's good enough to play in the NBA and he can be a first-round pick, you're going to welcome him to go. It's great for the young man. It's great for the program.
But before college is over?
Well,
I
think it's year by year, and if somebody's good enough to go after their freshman year, they're good enough to go after their freshman year. And Stanley's a guy I'm sure will be a pro after this year. Will be a first-round pick, and it's great for Arizona. It's great for Stanley, and that's when you're at that level and you got a chance to be in the NBA. It's hard to pass that up, but. There's no question that these young student athletes in the tournament, their only focus right now is trying to win in advance, not the next level just yet.
All right, well, I hope Arizona wins, because that was a really good memory from '97, Josh, and you were part of it. The pictures, I remember the pictures, not really the actual game.
That was a great experience, and the longer you're in the game, the more you realize how hard it is what we did. It's not an easy thing, very, very hard to do to be able to win that national championship.
Well, it's been great to watch your career, and we have to finish this up. We're wrapping, so thank you very much for joining us. Sports Court is adjourned.